Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Last
Good
session,
afternoon.
thank you. Last session, we have completed up to supplier transactions. Today, we will start from supplier reports. Okay, after we complete supplier module, we will move to customer module. Okay, uh, if you have any questions in supplier module or supplier transactions, you can raise now. Or we will move to supplier reports. First report is list of suppliers. You can go to reports from suppliers, reports, list of suppliers. Right. From this report, you can generate your supplier list. You can select uh, suppliers or active or supplier categories, and you can generate this report, detailed report, or as a detailed report or summary report. Right. Like this, you can generate. From this report, you can view supplier name, supplier category, active or contact name, telephone numbers, and supplier balances. And if you have foreign suppliers, you can view that suppliers balance in suppliers currency. You can view this report as detail. Then you can view with contact details also, addresses, contact details. Next, if you want to add your user-defined fields, you can add from here by ticking these user-defined fields under report options. Right. Hope you can remember how to add user-defined fields. Go to company, change company settings, user-defined fields, select supplier, and from here you can change that user-defined field names. And when you are creating supplier, by clicking this user-defined fields, you can add your supplier user-defined fields. And if you want to select only particular category, you can select from here and you can generate the report. And all this report you can save as a PDF, CSV, or Excel format, and you can print or email. Right now you can generate supplier report. Okay, next we will move to purchases by supplier report. Now from this report, you can generate what are the items or services purchases by your suppliers. Okay, you can select your suppliers. You can select your supplier category, and from report options, you can select date range. You can generate for monthly, quarterly, yearly, or month to date, then last month, last quarter, custom date, or all. If you select custom date, you can select from date or to date, or if you select all, system will display all purchases in the system. Then if you want to include supplier returns, you can tick this option. And if you want to view detailed report, you can select detailed report, or if you want to view as a summary, you can select summary. Now first we will view as a summary report. If you select summary, you can view each supplier, then transaction date, transaction number, quantity, and total purchases. If you select detail, you can view each purchase order or supplier invoice, item wise detail also you can view. Now in this report, summary report, you can view only date, transaction number, quantity, total quantity, and total amount. But if you select detail, you can view date, transaction number, then item you have purchased, item quantity, and total. If more than one item in the supply invoice, you can view detail. Here you can view as a summary only. Now you should take this display include returns. You can view this return transaction also. Supplier returns also you can view. Those supplier returns will display as minus amounts. Okay, now you can view this supplier purchases by supplier report. Right. Next, we will move to supplier balances, days outstanding report. This supplier outstanding report is very important for company because you want to check how much you have to pay for your suppliers, and when you are managing your cash flow, you need to know how much your supplier balances or supplier outstanding. You can generate this report as a date. You can select by default it will display current date, and if you want to change, you can change this date. And especially if you want to uh, generate this report as at 31st March or for audit purposes, you can generate this report by backdating this as a date. Next, you can select supplier. If you want to view one supplier outstanding, you can select that supplier, or you can view all supplier outstanding. Next, supplier category. If you want view one category, you can select, or you can select all categories. Next, status. From here, you can select active, inactive, or both supplier status. Uh, in style, you can select summary or detail. First, we will generate summary report. In this report, you can view supplier name, supplier outstanding age analysis, 120 plus days, 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, current, and total due. And if you select detail, you can view each supplier-wise transaction outstanding. Now, in summary report, you can view only one line for one supplier, but if you select detail as style, you can view transaction-wise outstanding. Then exclude suppliers with zero balances. This okay, first I'll enter one transaction. I'll show you. Earlier, this supplier didn't display because we have inactivated that supplier. Because of that, it didn't display. Right now, you can see this AA supplier. balance is zero, net outstanding is zero. Now from this option, if you tick this option, exclude suppliers with zero balances, this A space A supplier will not display. Okay, this supplier has zero balances, these two suppliers. If you take this exclude suppliers with zero balances, those zero balances suppliers will not display. Right. Next one, use foreign currency. If you take this option, system will display outstanding in suppliers currency. Now these these suppliers you can see, it will display as LKR, and if you have any foreign suppliers, system will display those suppliers currencies. Outstanding will display in those suppliers currency. Right, and one important thing, you can view supplier outstanding in supplier's currency or your home currency or local currency or LKR. And if you tick this option, use foreign currency, you cannot view grand total. If you untick this option, you can view grand total. Okay, you can generate this report as a date, and also if you want, you can backdate it, and you can generate this supplier outstanding report, and you can select supplier, one supplier or range of supplier or all suppliers, and from category you can select supplier categories, and from status you can select active, inactive or both suppliers, and from style you can select summary or detail. If you select summary, you can view one line for one supplier, and if you select some detail, you can view each transaction wise outstanding. Then exclude, if you tick this option, suppliers with zero balances, then system will not display zero balances suppliers. And if you tick use foreign currency, then system will display outstanding balances in suppliers currency. Okay, and if you tick use foreign currency, you cannot view grand total of this supply outstanding. If you untick use foreign currency, you can view grand total. Okay, now you can generate this supply balances days outstanding report. Okay, next we will move to supplier statement. Now, from this supplier statement, you can view suppliers transactions. Right. First, you can select suppliers from report filters, and you can select active or inactive suppliers, and you can select uh, supplier categories. From report options, you can select date range, and you can view the report. You can view each supplier transaction details, date, reference number, description, amount, and you can view age analysis. And if you have more than one supplier, you can view each statement for uh, each supplier. Now here you can view 32 pages, and each supplier has a page. Okay, and from here you can view we have done payments and we have entered supplier invoice for this supplier. And you can view due amount, paid amount, and outstanding age analysis. And there are few options. First one, show balance brought forward. If you tick this option, system will display uh, that supplier's opening balance. Now you can see we are generating this report from this range, and if supplier has a balance, system will display as brought forward balance. Next, exclude fully allocated invoices. And if this supplier has invoice and you have paid to that supplier, and if it is settled fully, if you want to view, you can untick this option. And if you want to exclude, if you want to exclude, you can tick this option. And if you want to include that invoices, you can untick this option. Okay, uh, if you want to exclude, you can tick, and if you want to include, you can untick this option. And if you want to view that suppliers transactions in foreign currency or suppliers currency, you can tick use foreign currency. In next, exclude supplier where balance is 0. If you take this option, zero balances suppliers will not display. And next one, negative. If supplier balances has negative balance, those suppliers will not display. And if supplier balance less than, you can enter amount here, and those suppliers will not display. If you go to supplier list and if you check balances, and also if you select this less than, other two options will inactivated, zero and negative. Okay, now I have selected from A to CA cell. In this customer supplier list, cash supplier has negative balance. We have ticked that option. Exclude negative balance suppliers. Therefore, that supplier will not display here. And these customers, a supplier, and this I made supplier zero balances, and BBB supplier also zero balances. Therefore, those suppliers will not display. Okay, zero balances, negative balances suppliers will not display. This only these four suppliers has balances. For suppliers, those four suppliers statement will display. Okay, like that you can enter less than amounts, and you can generate the report. Okay, now you can practice this supplier statement report. Okay, next we will move to supplier transaction report. From this supplier transactions report, you can generate your supplier transaction for a particular period, and you can select that transaction types. In practical situations, sometimes your auditors may request supplier transaction report. In that case, you can provide either a supplier statement or supplier transactions report. From date range, you can select required date range, and you can select supplier, or you can select all suppliers. You can select supplier category, and from status you can select active or inactive suppliers. And from transaction types you can select supplier adjustment, supplier invoice, supplier opening balance, supplier payments, and supplier returns. And if you select one transaction type, system will display that transaction type, only that transaction type. And if you don't select any transaction type, system will select display all transactions type. Next, use foreign currency. If you tick this option, system will display transaction in supplier's currency. Right. From this report, you can view supplier opening balance, then transactions, closing balance, movement for the period. And if the supplier has more than one transaction, you can view after each transaction supplier balance, you can view. And from this report, you can view supplier, then transaction date, transaction number, transaction type, description, debit amount, credit amount, and balance. Here also, if you tick this use foreign currency, you cannot view grand total. If you untick this option, you can view grand total. And if you tick this option, use foreign currency, you can view your supply outstanding in supplier's currency. And if you untick, you can view grand total. And if you want to view only particular transaction type, you can select that transaction type, and you can generate the report. Right, now you can generate this supplier transaction report. Okay. Next, we will move to supplier purchase order reports. From this report also, you can select date range, and you can select suppliers, and you can select category, supplier category, and you can select status. And from document status, you can select confirmed purchase orders, cancelled purchase orders, pending purchase orders, overdue purchase orders, and invoice purchase orders. Now here you can see there are few status in purchase orders: overdue, confirmed, cancelled, invoice orders. Uh, Overdue means you request to deliver this date and it has expired. It will display as status will change to overdue. And if customer supplier has confirmed your order, it will change to confirm. And if you cancel your order, status will change to cancel. And if you invoice that purchase order, status will change to invoice. From here, you can select document status, and you can view your supplier purchase orders in supplier's currency or local currency. Okay, from here you can view purchase order date, delivery date, purchase order reference number, order number, supplier name, exclusive amount, tax amount, total amount, and status of that purchase order. And if you untick this use foreign currency, you can view grand total. And in practical situation, if you want to check pending orders or overdue orders, you can select that document status and you can generate the report. And if you want to follow up any pending orders or overdue purchase orders, you can select that status and you can follow up those orders. Okay, now you can generate this supplier purchase orders report. Okay, next we will move to supplier purchase orders by supplier. Now, this is also a purchase order report. Uh, Now, previous report, supplier purchase orders report, uh, it will sort based on purchase order reference number, and here it will sort from supplier name. Now, here you can see first it will categorize from supplier name, then supplier purchase order. But in previous report, supplier purchase order report, there's no categorization or no group by field. From here, you can view list of purchase order. Now, supplier purchase orders by supplier report. You can select suppliers or supplier category, and you can select date range. From style, you can generate this report as summary report or detail. If you select summary, you can view only one line for one transaction. And if you select detail, you can view each line item in that purchase order. Here it's summary. You cannot view items in that purchase order. But if you select detail, you can view items in the purchase order. Next, status. You can select confirmed, cancelled, pending, overdue, and invoice orders, purchase orders. Uh, either you can select that's by status, or you can view all purchase orders. And you can view this report as in foreign currency or local currency. Right, now you can generate this supplier purchase order by supplier report. The difference between those two reports, supplier purchase orders report and supplier purchase orders by supplier report. The supplier purchase orders by supplier report system will or the report group by the supplier. Okay, now here uh, all purchase orders group by the supplier, but supplier purchase order report system will not group by any field. It will display or it will sort by purchase order reference number. Right, now you can generate this report, supplier purchase orders by supplier report. Okay, next we will move to supplier invoices report. From this report, you can generate supplier invoices for a particular date range, and you can select suppliers. You can select supplier categories, and from status, you can select active or inactive for both suppliers. And if you want to include supplier returns, you can click on this include tick box. And if you want to view your supplier invoices in supplier's currency, you can tick this option. Okay, from this report, you can view transaction date, transaction number, supplier invoice number, supplier name, due date for that supplier invoice. And if you have entered any anticipated payment date, you can enter anticipated payment date, and you can view exclusive amount for this supplier invoice, and tax amount, and total purchases. And from total outstanding, you can view outstanding of that supplier invoice. Now, when you are creating suppliers, you can enter that supplier outstanding date range for credit period. Right now, this supplier transaction on 25th April 2021, uh, we have entered 30 days credit period for that supplier. Therefore, due date is 25th May 2021. And we have settled this invoice. Therefore, total outstanding for this invoice is 0. And anticipated payment date, now you can see this invoice 117 invoice already paid. Therefore, this total outstanding is 0. And if you want to enter anticipated payment date, select next invoice. You can search invoices by go to this supply invoice list, and you can enter supply invoice number, and you can open that invoice. From options, you can enter anticipated payment date. Now we will refresh and check, right? That anticipated date will display here. And here also, if you want to use foreign currency, you can view grand total. And this report also you can uh, export to PDF, Excel, CSV, or you can print or email. Right now you can generate supplier invoices report. Okay. In addition to that, in addition to from this report, you can view purchase orders, supplier purchase orders, and supplier invoices from this transaction list. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier purchase orders. From here also, you can view your supplier purchase orders, and you can customize columns from here. And if you want to export, you can export from here. And also from here, you can filter by date or based on supplier invoice, supplier purchase order status. Invoices also same, supplier invoices. From here also, you can view supplier invoice report. Right, next report, supplier unallocated payment. Now you can enter your supplier invoice and you can enter payment. When you are doing the payment or when you are entering the payment, you can select that outstanding supplier invoice and you can set off that supplier invoice. Sometimes before enter supplier invoice, you may enter supplier payment, or sometimes when you are entering supplier payment, you may forget to settle or set off that supplier outstanding invoices. If you don't select your supplier payment for supplier or for outstanding invoice, when you generate outstanding report, it will display uh, more than one transaction for this outstanding report. Now, for an example, this AA supplier, first one, it has opening balance 2,500, and after that, we have paid 2,500, but we haven't allocated that payment to outstanding. Therefore, when you are generating this supplier outstanding report, system will display two transactions. And for this other supplier also, supplier has 100 outstanding, 2,500 outstanding, and we have paid 2,600, but we haven't allocated that payment amount to outstanding invoices. Therefore, this supplier will display in our outstanding report, but actually this supplier hasn't any outstanding balance. And if we haven't allocated our payments to invoices, we can check those unallocated payments from this supplier unallocated payment report. Go to suppliers report, supplier unallocated payments. We can select date range. We can select supplier. We can select supplier category and status. If you want to include supplier returns and adjustments, you can include, and you can view this report from by supplier's currency. Now here we can view this A supplier A space A supplier payment 2,500 and AA supplier outstanding 2,000 payment 2,600. Now after we generate this report, we can allocate those supplier outstanding, those supplier payment to outstanding invoices. You can go to suppliers, transactions, allocate payments, select supplier. You can drag and drop these unallocated items. Now we have allocated these two payments, 2,500. Now after refresh, system will not display that supplier outstanding, right? Like that, here also now 2,500 will not display. And from this supplier unallocated payments report, we can generate this report. And if you have any unallocated payments, we can allocate those payments to unallocated invoices. Okay, now you can generate this supplier unallocated payment report. Okay, next report is emails sent to suppliers. From here, you can select suppliers, supplier categories, or date range, and you can view report. Okay, from here you can view date, sent to, sent from, and sent to recipient email address, type of that document you have sent, and document number. And also when you are generating this report, if you want, you can drill down these reports. Now, if you want to view that report, or if you want to view this transaction, view this invoice, supply invoice, you can click this uh, supply invoice and you can view the transaction. And from here also, if you want, you can click and you can view the transaction. Okay, next we will move to special. Now from here, you can adjust your opening balances. Now when you are creating customers or when you are creating suppliers, you can enter your supplier balance under opening balance. And later, if you found that opening balance is incorrect and you want to change that opening balance, you can change that opening balance from suppliers special adjust opening balances. Uh, and you can select the supplier, can enter reason why you are changing, and after you select, you can view that supplier balance. You can enter change reason why you are changing this opening balance, and you can enter new opening balance, and you can save. Then that opening balance will change to new opening balance. Okay, now you can enter or you can change your supplier opening balance. Okay, now we have completed suppliers module. If you have any questions, please ask. Okay, then we will take a 10-minute break. And if you haven't downloaded that layout designer, uh, you can send your details or you can share your screen. Then we can check what's the issue. Okay, if you want to download this layout designer, please go to company, change company settings, go to documents and statements, select invoice and statement layout, and there's a blue color button. Clicking here, by clicking here, you can download layout designer. I'll repeat it again. Go to company, change company settings, document and statements, invoice and statement layout, and click uh, this button. Clicking here, and from this screen you can select desktop, add-ons and downloads, and by clicking this accounting custom layout designer image, you can download the layout designer. Okay, now we have created supplier module. Uh, if you have any questions, please ask. Right. Before go to customer module, we will do a small example. Now, you can create one supplier. Supplier name is RUH Computers Private Limited, and you can create one item. This BL001 item description is Dell laptop, and you can enter supplier invoice. Supplier invoice date is 1st June 2021, and you can enter you have purchased 20 laptops at 125,000. Okay, uh, you can start these transactions and create supply an item. Uh, you can take 10 minutes and you can complete this transaction. Okay, you can go through this Excel sheet and you can do uh, necessary or required master files. You can create required master file by go through this Excel sheet. Okay, you can create supplier RUH Computers Private Limited. Go to supplier, go to suppliers, add a supplier. You can enter supplier name, and if you want, you can add other details, postal address and contact details. Next, you need to create item DL001, item description Dell laptop. Go to items, add an item. And here you can see selling price, retail 200,000, wholesale 175,000. For that one, you need to create price list. Go to company, change company settings. General settings, item settings. From price list, you can create price list, or if you want, you can rename available price list to is retail and wholesale. After you create the price list, when you are adding the item, you can go to this price list tab, and you can enter prices for that. You can enter that selling price for relevant price list. After you create item, you can go to suppliers, transaction, select supplier invoice, and click add supplier invoice. From here, you can select the supplier, and you can enter supplier invoice number and date. Select to 1st June 2021, and from here you can select item. You can enter quantity as 20 and exclusive price as 125,000. Okay, after that you can save this supplier invoice. After you enter this transaction, you can go to suppliers, and go to reports, select supplier balances days outstanding, and you can select that supplier and generate the report and check the supplier balances. If you are getting this 2.5 million, you have entered correctly that transaction. In addition to that, you can go to items, reports. We will later, when we are doing this items module, we will discuss. Go to items, report, item valuation report, and you can view that laptop valuation. Okay, first go to supplier reports and supplier balances. Select that supplier and check the supplier balance. Right, is it clear? Okay, next we will move to customer module. From here you can create customers. Add a customer and you can enter customer details. Next, sales rep. Go to list of sales rep, and by clicking add sales rep, you can add new sales rep. Customer categories. Go to customers list, customer categories, and by clicking add category, you can create a new customer category. Okay, now you can create two customers. Mr. Pereira and Management Computers Private Limited. You can add price list as mentioned here. You can create one customer, Mr. Pereira, and link that price list, retail price list, and second customer, Management Computers Private Limited, link wholesale price list for that customer. Right. Now, we already discussed this master file creation, customer sales rep and customer categories. Next, we will move to customer transaction. First, customer codes. You can enter customer quotation from this customer transactions and click add code. You can select customer. After you select the customer, you can view customer balance if available, and you can view tax numbers and postal address and delivery address. If you already assign any sales rep to this customer, you can view this sales rep, and if you want to change when you are processing the transaction time also, you can change this sales rep. And this number, document number, will generate from the system. You can set this number from company settings. Go to company, change company settings, document and statements, document numbers. Under quotation, you can enter your quotation number. First number you can enter. After that, system will generate next number. And also, before you enter these transactions, please enter these document numbers. Next, sales rep. You can create sales rep from customers list of sales rep. And when you are creating customer time also, you can create new sales rep. And when you are creating customer, you can link your sales rep. Next, customer reference. If your customer has sent any document or any request for quotation, you can enter that customer reference number. After enter these details, you can enter your items. In addition to that, if you have entered the credit period for this customer, it will display here. Now, for this customer, you have entered 45 days. Therefore, it will calculate 45 days for expiry date also. If you want, you can change this date. Next, discount. Now, when you are creating this customer, we have entered 10% discount. You can change this discount percentage when you are processing this transaction. If you are giving regularly a discount for this customer, you can enter that discount rate under default settings. Then when you are processing transaction, when you are entering any quotation, sales order or customer invoice, that discount rate will display here. After that, you can enter your item. And you can enter quantity and price. If you have entered selling price when you are creating the item, that price will display here. And when you are selecting the item, you can view item code, item description, reserved quantity, and quantity on hand. If you cannot view these details, you can drag and drop, drag this window. Like that, you can enter items. If you want to add more lines, by clicking this plus mark, you can add lines. And there's another option, use inclusive amount. If this item has tax, if you want to view inclusive amount, you can tick this option. Then system will display with tax amount. This exclusive price will change to inclusive. Now here it's exclusive price, and if you want to change to inclusive, you can tick this option. Then price will change. And if you want to add any notes for this item, add a note document, you can click this icon, this file mark icon. Then another line will display here. You can enter any notes to or comment to this item. Then system will calculate discount, exclusive amount, total tax, and total. And this message also, if you want, you can add any message. After enter these details, you can save or print or email this uh, customer quotation. If you enter any comment for this item, it will display. This color will change to blue. Okay. Right, now you can enter customer quotation. You can use the previous customer names for creating this customer quotation, and you can use that items you have created previously. You can use that Pereira or management computers, and you can use laptop as your item. right? uh, Now, from this quotation, there's no any journal entry or any entry to the system, and it's only a document. There's no any uh, GL transaction by entering this quotation. Okay, after you enter quotations, you can view your quotation list from customer codes. You can view customer name, document number, customer reference, date, expiry date, total. And if you print your quotation, under printing there's a tick, and there are few status: invoice, expired, uh, pending, overdue, decline. uh, Accepted is after you send the quotation to your customer will accept that quotation, then this status will change to accepted. And if your customer reject this quotation, uh, this status will change to decline. And if you have given quotation and your expiry date reach, status will change to expired. And if you convert this customer quotation to invoice, status will change to invoice. And these columns also you can customize by clicking this customize grid. You can tick required columns, and you can untick if you want to remove any column. And from here you can filter your quotations. And from search, if you type any word or amount, you can search those customer or quotation. And by clicking this heading, you can sort your customer quotations. Next, we will discuss these options. You can view GP of this, gross profit of this quotation, item code, item description, average cost, exclusive selling price, gross profit amount, and gross profit percentage. Then quote history. By clicking this quote history, you can view the actions and date and user of this quotation. Now you can view first line: created date, and created user. Second one, it mentioned edited, that user, and details. Then if you email this quotation, it will display here. Like that, you can view action, date, user. And if any user has done any change to this quotation, you can view from this quote history. Right, like this, you can view. If this edited, you can view. I'll change the price and save and open again. Go to options, quote history. Now you can see uh, action edited. The value of the document was changed from LKR 13,406 cents to 13,500. Next, show user-defined fields. If you want to add any additional details, you can use these user-defined fields. Next, document attachment. If you want to attach any document for this quotation, you can attach by clicking this add attachment, and you can add up to 5 attachments, and files should not exceed 2 MB. Next, document note. Here you can add any note. Then when action date reached, it will display in this dashboard. Under to-do list, you can view that customer note. Next, accepted. If your customer has accepted this quotation, you can click this accepted, then that status will change. And if your customer reject or decline this quotation, you can change this status to decline. And if you want to invoice, you can invoice. And if you want to change this quotation, or if you want to convert this quotation to invoice, you can create invoice. And if you want to enter recurring invoice, you can create recurring invoices. Recurring invoices is you can schedule your customer invoices, then that schedule date system will automatically generate that customer invoice and email to customer. From here, you can enter start date, frequency, and end date. Then this date system automatically create invoice and will send to customer. Right, next create sales order. And if you want to copy this quotation, you can copy this by clicking this copy code. In addition to that, if you want to allocate this quotation for any analysis code, you can select analysis code from here. Right. Next, we will move to customer sales orders. Go to customers, transaction, customer sales orders. Click add sales order. From here, you can select your customer. And now in practical situation, sometimes your company may enter only invoice, or sometimes your company may enter quotation, then convert that quotation to invoice, or you may enter quotation, then convert to sales order, and you can convert sales order to invoice. When you enter invoice, customer invoice, your customer outstanding will increase and your inventory will decrease. Okay, debit trade receivable and credit inventory. And if you enter sales order, I think you can remember when we are setting up our company settings, under general settings, item settings, there's option sales order reserve item quantities. If you enter any sales order, we will enter Apple iPhone, then this item will reserve for this customer. Okay, if you tick this option, if you enable this sales orders reserve item quantities, then that if you enter any sales order for a particular customer, that those items will reserve for this customer. Okay, and also you can view when you are select items, you can see reserved quantity and quantity on hand, and if you reserved any quantity, you can check from here. And if you enter quotations, there are no any accounting transaction, or there's no item reservation. It's only a document. Right. You can convert your quotations, or you can enter fresh sales order here, or by clicking this from quote, you can select your previous quotation and you can convert that uh, quotation to sales order. Okay, after you enter sales order, those items will reserve. And if you want to assign to any analysis code, you can assign, you can select your analysis code. And if you want to attach any message, you can enter that message. And from here, if you want to add any comment to this item, you can add comment. And also you can view layouts. There are few layouts. You can check those layout, and you can view that layouts, print layout or print preview. And if you want to change those layouts, this appearance, if you want to change, or if you want to add any columns, you can, if you want to change this font size and font style, you can change those details from layout design. Okay, right. Next, okay, you can now enter uh, customer sales order. Go to customers, transaction, customer sales order. Okay, after that, after you enter sales order, you can go to options, and you can view sales order GP, gross profit. You can view average cost, exclusive price, gross profit amount, and gross profit percentage. And if you want to view your gross profit based on last cost, you can select this last cost, and you can view the gross profit. Next, sales order history. You can view your sales order history from here. Who created, edited, or print email, those details. Then user defined fields. Document attachments. If you want to attach any documents, you can attach from here. If you want to attach your customer purchase order to here, you can attach. You can scan and attach to this sales order, and later also you can view from the system. There's no need to maintain manual or hard copy. You can attach those scanned copy to this document, and if you require, you can view from the system. Then document notes. You can add document notes here, and you can enter action date, note. When action date reads, it will display in dashboard under to-do list. Here you can see all the customer document notes. The next, create invoice. If you want to convert this sales order to invoice, by clicking this create invoice, you can convert this sales order. And if you want to copy the sales order, you can copy sales order. Next, if you want to view a sales order list, you can go to customers, transactions, and sales order. You can view this list. Right, and when you are entering sales order, one option is go to customers, transactions, sales order, add sales order, and from here you can select your customer, and you can enter items, or if your customer has quotations, you can select from here, and then those items will convert to sales order. Or else you can go to customer quotations, select customer quotation, and click actions, and from here create sales order. Then that quotation will convert to sales order. Like that, there are three methods. First one, go to customers, transaction, and go to sales order. Then second one, select from quote, or third option, go to quotation list, and you can convert your quotation to sales order. Okay, like that, you can enter quotations. Next, I'll quickly go through this layout designer. You can click this this icon, and you can log into your layout designer. You can design your all quotations, sales orders, and invoices from here. Uh, And from here, layout, you can select your layout and you can preview. If this is okay, you can adjust that, or you can modify this layout, or you can select another layout and you can check preview. And you can design uh, according to your requirement. After you open your layout designer, you can log into layout designer by entering your username and password. Okay, then you can view this custom layout designer, another window. From here, you can select uh, which document you are going to design. First option, quotes, sales orders, tax invoices, credit notes. Second one, customer statements. Third one, purchase orders, customer invoices, supplier returns. Fourth, supplier statement. The last one, delivery note. Now, for an example, assume you are going to design your quotes or quotation. You can select first option. After you select first option, this quotes, sales orders, tax invoices, and credit note. Uh, Under that, you can view a few documents, default classic, default modern, default plain, like that. Then if you want from here, you can select your layout, which layout you are going to change. Now here we have selected default modern, and from layout, we can select default modern and click design button. Okay, then that layout will open. Then first thing you need to save this layout name as a different name. From this name, you cannot save or you cannot modify this layout. Therefore, please change that name. Go to File, click Save As, and you can enter name for that layout and click OK. Then this name will change. Okay. Now you can design your layout, your quotation layout. You can design. You can change this your font size, font style, color. From here, you can change. Okay. You can select any field name here, and you can change. You can increase size, height, width. You can change from here. And if you want to add any uh, text, you can add here. Like this, you can do changes for this quotation format. Okay. Next session we will discuss how to modify these changes. uh, After you do any modification, you can save that layout. After you save from this name, you can go to system, and you can view that layout. Okay, like that you can design your layouts. Next session we will discuss how to design layouts. Okay. uh, if you have any questions in these customer transactions, you can ask. Okay, okay, then we will wrap up for today. If you have any questions, please text, and please practice these examples, and we will add that user manuals next before next session. We will add user manuals to your LMS, and you can check those documents from your LMS. Okay, thank you very much. Stay safe.